Hey guys, Anna here. Welcome back to the channel and welcome to another speed build. If you're new here, my name is Anna. I love to build in The Sims 4 or The Sims in general. And at the moment, I'm posting once a week with a couple of shorts, but normally I would post 2 times a week. I've just had a really busy end of last year and then hoping that this year I can hit the ground running, and we're aiming for February to be back to normal schedule. And yeah, I just post speed builds, a lot of family homes, community builds, and whatnot. So if that's something you would like to see, please consider subscribing and liking and leaving a comment on today's video. Alright, so let's get into today's video. So today's video it's a modern remake. So this actual build is something that I built months ago. So actually probably over a year ago now, to be honest. And it was a modern home that I built before I had started reposting. I just kind of built it in my personal time and I fell in love with the floor plan. It was the simplicity of the floor plan that I loved. More specifically, it is the living areas. So it has the kitchen, dining and living with a laundry and a bathroom off the side, which then leads you to the porch to the backyard. I really loved this layout so much that I wanted to recreate it here for the channel. I have kept the build in a modern aesthetic, but it's definitely different to that floor plan. The original floor plan, I think, had an additional bedroom downstairs. I don't have that. So this particular build is a 4x3. So you have 2 large bedrooms downstairs and then you have 2 upstairs. You have the bathroom that's off from the kitchen, and then you have, I believe, 2 other bathrooms, just like a general bathroom, and then I think an ensuite potentially. Not sure. But anyway, the original build that I had created had a powder room, which is essentially just a toilet and a sink, which was really smart. But in this particular build, I had a lot of room. So I decided to do a full downstairs bathroom. And I think initially how I had done it, you may have seen when I did the floor plan, is the 2 downstairs bedrooms were just bedrooms, but they were massive. And I thought they're just a little too big for my liking. So I added a room into the center that created like a bathroom. So that's how we got the 3rd bathroom. Alright, so we are just working on the exterior and we have kind of mapped out our landscaping. I've got the fence. I've put where I want to put my tree house, and I've used a lot of Adventure weights. I've used the Adventure weights decking. I've also used the foundation that looks like a deck. I've used the stone, and I've used, I think the roof detailing comes from Businesses and Hobbies, and also that beautiful green paneling comes from Businesses and Hobbies. You'll see that soon. That is the exterior wallpaper. I pair it with just a beige colored sliding, and it works really well. You just realize we're not up to that part, but I just kind of, little sneak peek. The roofing was very simple. I just did a angled half gabled roof with some platforms, and that just kind of gives it a modern feel. It looks very similar to the wellness center that I built for when Adventure Weights came out. That is on the channel if you'd like to go back and watch it. It has a very similar vibe to this build. I'm actually building this next door to where I put my water park that I built as well. That's also on the channel if you'd like to go back and watch that one. But yeah, I've just been building in Newcrest a lot. I definitely need to get some more inspiration and ideas for other builds using different worlds, because I am having to find myself using multiple save files because I only build in Willow Creek and Newcrest and maybe San Sequoia and possibly Brindleton Bay. So I need to build elsewhere. So that's my kind of goal for the first maybe couple of months of 2026, is to really build in worlds that are not those particular worlds, just because I feel like you guys have seen everything. They're just so easy to build like family homes in for me. I really struggle with like Oasis Springs with the lighting, but also I feel like they're all just really the same type of build. They're all like a modern or a mid-century. So maybe I should build some community lots. That might be the way to go. Anyway, we are doing the windows. These all come from Business and Hobbies. I've used actually Business and Hobbies so much in this build, and I really like it. So obviously, if you've watched a lot of my content before, you would know that the outside always tells a story. You can very clearly tell what type of home and decor style I'm going for. But then when I go and furnish it, I kind of ruin it, because I kind of go on a tangent, and you have a little bit of this style and a little bit of that style. So I don't know, it's a bit hodgepodge, but always feel like with decorating, if you guys were to download this build, it is available on the Sims 4 gallery. My gallery ID is Antoinette44. It's in the description below. If you were to download this, you could gut this house and change it to how you like anyway. It's almost like I decorate it, how I would like to play. And also for, I guess, the video as well. So anyway, decorating is the one thing that I want to work on. I do think that I should put a little bit more clutter in my builds, and I feel like I use the same objects over and over again. So I'm actually like, the cogs are turning. I'm coming up with video ideas as we speak, which is very exciting. All right, let's get into the decorating, because we have started decorating the inside. So I always tend to start with the main living areas of a home. I feel that it sets the groundwork for the rest of the build. I kind of get what color scheme we're going for and what type of objects are we using. Are we pulling from certain packs? Like, for example, this entire kitchen is generally Home Chef Hustle paired with Dream Home Decorator. And there is a little bit of some of the newer kits. You've got a lot of Adventure Awaits, a lot of Business and Hobbies, Refined Living Room Kit. I feel like I use it in every build, even if it's not a modern-esque build. I just love it so much. The rugs from there are so good. I used the buffet table that came with the Desert Luxe kit. I never use this, but again, this build was a little bit, well, it is on the modern side, so I wanted to utilize that in this space. I also was the wood tones that I was using in this build were kind of like that burnt cherry, which I've said in the past, where I do feel the newer packs, the wood tones are slightly different to the base game. So it kind of puts you into a corner where if you use a newer pack, you kind of have to use the newer packs to get the same type of wood tone color. Like the Adventure Awaits wood tone it matches the windows from Business and Hobbies, but it's not quite the same as the legs on those bar stools from Dream Home Decorator. So you see what I mean? It's a bit different. So you're trying to find a color that's same, but different. So I put in a dishwasher in this house, and I put in some appliances. I really like to play with the appliances that came with Home Chef Hustle. I think that they're great, and I think it's very realistic in a home to have them. So I enjoy that. So those mirrors are one of my favorite pieces from Adventure Awaits. I've used them all throughout the house. All the bathrooms have them. And yeah, I love these cushions. So these cushions came from a base game update we got end of last year, which was West African inspired. And I just love the prints on them. I used them a couple of times in this build. So obviously on that couch, I then use it in one of the bedrooms, I think. They're just really colourful and really lovely. And you can pair them so well with just a basic plain asset. So for example, that couch is just plain. There's no pattern on it. So bringing in that pattern through the cushion, it just elevates that space. All right, so we are kind of finishing the bathroom and laundry all at once. I've gone in, the other thing I've gone in with that I forgot to mention is the flooring, the marble flooring. This actually comes from Lovestruck. And this was the flooring I used in the original house that I built. So the original house that I built is on the gallery. You'd have to do a little bit of searching, but it is there. It is slightly different. I do believe the spacing on this build is better because, as you build and, you learn and you get better over time. So obviously a build that I built over a year ago is not going to be the same as one I built, today. So I do think that this is a better build. But that marble flooring, I thought it worked so well for these spaces. The other thing I could have done is had a little bit more access into the laundry, but where the bathtub was, how it was on the angle, I decided to keep it how it was. I also really like that bathroom. I think I added a lot of greenery. I like the positions of all the cabinets. And yeah, this laundry slash mudroom is so good. I need to be putting these in all of my builds. Even if it's not a laundry, it's just a space, like it kind of elevates that, well, it's not an entry, but it's a mudroom. Yeah. It's where you enter in from, I guess, the back of the property. I guess that's why they call it a mudroom. I'm not too sure. Anyway, I'm really enjoying that space. I really like that kind of hutch thing that we got from Adventure Awaits. It has little shoes and bags and hooks. It's just such a realistic space. The swatches on it aren't my favorite because I feel like a lot of the swatches with Adventure Awaits are very worn and it didn't really fit the aesthetic, but I just went with it because I really liked the object. Okay, we are now at the front of the build where the entryway. I just want to give a quick shout out to those doors. They are beautiful. They are from Adventure Awaits and they're the kind of more modern type assets that we got with the pack. And I just absolutely love those front doors. They fit this build perfectly. So yeah, really excited about that. So that entryway is just got a nice little ottoman, and it's got further down by the back door, you've got the chess table, which is really good. And then that leads you out to the backyard. So we are kind of working on the backyard here where we're putting in, I just put in like the small custom playground. We're putting in a seating area, a grill. We've got the pool there. I think I have, yes, I've got a diving board, like a small one, but I don't put in a slide. I still like to add those into my builds. I think that it's realistic. To be fair, the owners of this home live next door to a water park, which may not be in your game, but it's in my game. So like they don't necessarily have to, I guess, have a pool, but I had the space for it and I generally put it into my games. I don't know, comment down below if your Sims use a pool quite often. My Sims do as well. I think it's such a good way to get the fitness skill in because sometimes I don't have room to put in a gym or like much equipment. So I like to add in things that like allow me to get different skills, and a pool allows you to do that. All right, we're going around for the landscaping. Now, as usual, I'm keeping it very simple. So I started with some trees and I've just gone in with some ferns and some simple flowers that I think the color I pull from is yellow from memory. It just complements the green. What would have really looked nice also is probably pink. Pink would have gone really nice with this as well. But it's just such a beautiful like bottle green. And I really like how it just lifts the facade of the build. And it's just such a focal point. All right, so we've added in, some white hydrangeas and some lay-lowing flowers that have a bit of yellow in them. And just going around with some rocks to add some dimension. Put in a clothesline next to the treehouse. As the Sims build the treehouse, it will change shape. So I hope that there is enough room in that space. But I think it'll be okay. I put in a picnic basket. I put in a hopscotch. That's why all of my builds just have so many packs in them, because I just think that each expansion pack just generally has like a standout asset that I use or item. And that hopscotch from For Rent is just in like all of my family homes. There's just something about it that just feels so right, that like a kid just had some chalk and they just drew this on the ground. Like when I was growing up, we had that in school where, a lot of people would draw like a hopscotch on the, in the courtyard, the quadrangle, I think it's called, in the quad. And yeah, so I just really like it. It's just a very, reminiscent thing for me. All right, I decided to add in a enclosed porch on the back. And then this is the part where we start with our bedrooms. I decided that the white was not correct. And for the rest of the build, I do leave the white, but I add in that dark green paneling in some of the walls as an accent piece downstairs. And I think it really elevates the build. You'll see that shortly. We are starting with the master bedroom. So this is upstairs. You can kind of see a sneak peek of that upstairs bathroom. And it's a bathroom, it's not an ensuite. So each bedroom is decorated very differently. Again, if you've watched my content before, you'll know that I generally have like a color theme with each build. This one is brown and green. So I've started with the bed that came with the businesses and hobbies, and I've just paired it a little bit with just trying to match with that forest green. So packs like life and death, high school years, and then obviously business and hobbies, it just made that pop. I've used the same couch that I've used from the living room, just in the love seat version. And I've used the rug that comes with that new West African update. I just think it's so beautiful in the plain swatches. It's so usable, and yeah. So that's the master bedroom. I had this additional room. I didn't know what to do with it. It was going to be a study, but then I thought I have a computer in the master bedroom. So I decided to make this into a pottery studio. It's got a woodworking table in there as well, just because I thought that would kind of fit the space. It's kind of like a crafty space. And I don't really know. I just kind of did this because I had the space for it. But you could make this into any kind of skill room that you wanted. You could make it into a study. You could make it into an additional bedroom. So I do kind of like to have that in my builds where there is room for expansion within the build if needed. So I think that that's really important. And also, like, that could be a small business. It could be something that the sim makes and then they sell on like a selling table. So again, there's a lot of business and hobbies. Maybe I have to build in Nordhaven. Maybe this is a sign that I need to build in Nordhaven. Anyway, I'm talking all over this room. So this is a teens room. It's kind of gender neutral, but then I put flowers on the wall. So I don't know. Maybe it's a female teens room. Anyway, I've used some, I don't know, it's like a teal with some yellow. That's a lot of that room is from high school years. A lot of the posters, also Love Struck. I've said it before, that rug is perfect. It just has all those different shades that you don't really have in the base game or in the game in general. Right, and then to round out the upstairs, you have just this landing space. I've used the same hutch from downstairs in the living area, and I've paired it with. I've been using this mirror, the floor length mirror, a lot recently. This is the one from Jungle Adventure. It's my favorite mirror in the game, and I've been really enjoying it. All right, downstairs. This might be my favorite bedroom in the house. So this is another teens room. Because of the sizes of the rooms, I could have done a really massive kids room, but then again, I thought there's no harm in having like adult rooms as well. So this is more of an adult room. It could be for a teenager. I love the color scheme. So the blue paneling comes from Cats and Dogs, and the yellow, actually, it's one of the wallpapers from, I think it's Businesses and Hobbies. I think it's an external wallpaper, but I've used it inside. But it's that kind of mustard color, and it pairs so well with the bed that came with For Rent. I've used that cushion again, and it's just that blue and yellow, and it's patterned, and it's so pretty. Like, this is just such a pretty room. I've used the bedside tables that come from Business and Hobbies. The wardrobe comes from Business and Hobbies. The lamps come from Love Struck. And yeah, it's just a very solid room. I've used that rug again. And yeah. All right, the final bedroom is just a standard child's room. I've used one of my favorite base game wallpapers, the flowered wallpaper. Paired it with a bed that came from Horse Ranch, actually, because it uses that exact shade of green. I've gone in with the dollhouse that comes from Horse Ranch. Paired it with the rug that comes from, I think it's Tiny Living. I don't really use this rug a lot, but it fit this space. And I've gone in with the cottage living dresser because it's got the mirror and it just kind of fits that more rustic feel. This has a more rustic feel in this bedroom, which is completely different to the rest of the house. But sometimes I like to do that with bedrooms. You know, I'm not opposed to having a change in style for a bedroom. I put an imaginary friend. And again, of course, I'm going to use this wall decal with the trees and the birds and the animals. I like it. I don't know what it is about it. It just is so good. And the yellow from the wall decal pulls from the yellow in the bedspread. And it's just so good. We are just adding in a debug car and then we will be live in game. So I also added a swing set at the front of the build as well. Sometimes I like to add in furniture at the front of a build just to, you know, utilize the space. So you walk in and as you can see, I've changed with the green walls. You have your entryway. You then head into the, I guess, a teen's room, into a downstairs bathroom, which is one of the 2 downstairs bathrooms, into that child's room. And then across from the hall, you go through the archway, the bifold doors. You have your kitchen, dining, and living. You then head through to the downstairs bathroom. This is much larger. It's a much nicer space. Just going to add in a curtain. And then across from there, you have the laundry kind of mud room. I also have room for a cat in this particular build, which is quite nice. And then to go upstairs, you go into that kind of pottery room, that skill building room, into the upstairs bathroom, and another teens room. This is kind of yellow, orange, and teal. Just forgot to add in some lamps. I always forget this. At least I remembered the laundry hampers. I'm very excited. So I've only put laundry hampers in the bedrooms in this particular build. And finally, that is the master bedroom. And then we go outside into... Oh, I haven't put anything outside, so I'm just going to put in a mat and maybe a chair. No, I don't. I have a chair on this side. You just have a pool, a sitting area, a grill, you have the playground, and you have the treehouse, which is really good. It's interesting that I put a treehouse when there's only one child sim. I think you would utilize it a little bit more if there were less teenagers. But anyway, and that is the build today, guys. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed today's build. If you did, please leave a comment and a like down below. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye for now.